And good afternoon, sports fans. My name is Blair Dell.
My name's Luke O'Grady.
And welcome to the G. Forbes Elliott Athletics Center here in the beautiful St. John, New Brunswick, where we are watching the men's volleyball match between the UNBSJ Seawolves and the Holland College Hurricanes. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Wolastoqiyik, whose ancestors, along with the Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy nations, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown. The St. John campus is located at Menaquest, now called St. John. Menaquest today is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Our live broadcast is brought to you by ACAA TV, powered by Sports Canada TV. Be sure to subscribe to our Seawolves YouTube channel for all the action this season. And before we introduce the starting lineups, the Seawolves want to take this time to thank their sponsors: the UNB Associated Alumni, One Team Sports Group, Chartwell's UNBSJ, and ACAA TV, powered by Sports Canada Television. And now, Luke, to start off, we're going to announce the starters for the UNBSJ Seawolves. Starting at number 1, Liam McClellan. Number 2, Ethan Tucker. Number 6, Thomas Blizzard. Number 7, Finley Kearney Staunton. Number 11, Cameron Willis. Number 14, Austin Kendall. And in the libero position, we have Brandon Dickinson and Jonathan Fraser Monroe. And for the Holland College Hurricanes, we have number 3, Cameron Calhoun. Number 4, Kiefer Sinclair. Number 6, Carson Gray. Number 7, Chase Parsons. Number 9, Luke Hyde. Number 13, Chris Basilio. And in the libero position, we have Tyler McBride. Exciting day, Luke. Exciting day.
Look at the lib jersey for Holland College today. The pinstripes.
That's nice.
That is nice. I've never seen that before.
That gives me some MLB vibes.
It does. I had the same thought. Or like the sleeved NBA jerseys.
Yes, a little throwback for them. I like that a lot. Folks, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a comment too, if there's any sort of audio issues or if you're getting a lot of feedback. We have been working a little bit with our system today, so feel free to let us know. Yeah,
by the same merit, too, if there's anything that happens that you don't understand or you want some clarification on, just type it in the comments, and we'll try and make sure that we get everybody on the same page.
McClellan to start for the Seawolves. He sends its float over, and it's dug up, sent to the left side, and that's a nice high swing off the block. Over bump and picked up by Holland. It's going to be sent to the left side again. Number 3, big swing by Calhoun.
That's a heavy swing.
Calhoun, an outside hitter. Fourth-year player, Luke.
Yeah. All the way from Ontario.
And back to the service line now with Holland College starting off the first point of the game. We have Carson Gray.
Yeah, I think we're expecting to see a lot of Calhoun today. He's their power. Ooh, interesting touch on that one. I think he's their go-to power, and I think he leads their team in total sets so far this year, so we'll be calling his name a lot.
And that's a big swing out of the middle for Parsons for Holland College. Great heads-up play by the setter there.
Yeah, he's a first-year player out of Newfoundland.
I'd love to see all these provinces represented. It's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gray heads back to the service line, his second. 2-0 Holland up. It's received. A little bit of a scramble play for St. John. McClellan gets there, and it's going to be sent over as a bit of an overpass from Blizzard. To the middle now, a tempo ball, and it's picked up, and it looks like there was some contact made on the net. Number 2, Mr. Tucker. A little bit of touching of the tape.
That's twice now that we've seen Blizzard have to take a high ball off the net and turn it into just an over volley. I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive on those, step in and get a high, hard swing on it, at least put a little bit of pressure on the Hurricanes.
And ball's picked up well. McClellan's going to go to the middle, and there's a tip. Lib's going to pick it up, so out to the right side now is Holland College, and that big block gets put up.
Huge block by Kendall. He was fired up about that one.
Kendall and Tucker both getting up there for the squad.
That was interesting to see. It was interesting to see Calhoun stay out there on the right side. They had the serve, so he had the option to go to both. He could be playing their outside hitter. I mean, their right side position this week.
To the left side now, Holland just puts a banger straight down. It looked like that was over the top there, 100%. Luke.
Not only that, but over the top and still 2 or 3 feet in from the back line. That's a much more impressive hit than it looks like at home.
That's Hyde getting right up there on the ladder.
Yeah, that means you got a really, really high touch. And because of that, as the block, they're going to be challenged all day off their hands.
Parsons now serving for the Hurricanes, 4-1. To the left side for St. John. It's off the block and picked up by Kendall. McClellan will go back to Kendall, and he does a push tip to the back end. It's going to be brought left, and a nice high swing coming in from Hyde. And I believe that was off the touch there, Luke.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about from Blizzard on the UNBSJ side. Not to harp, it's only happened 1 or 2 times so far, but that's why you do those high, hard swings when you can, as opposed to just an over-bumper volley. It puts them in the position where they have to play a little bit more defense.
Parsons again, his second. This one is going to be received from the back end of the line. McClellan will get there, and it's going to be another overbump. St. John struggling to get that one over.
Yeah.
To the right side, it's a tip, and that ball is dug up well. Second touch and a third. Gives Holland the opportunity once more.
Bit of a scramble drill.
One hand set and a push tip, and there's going to be some sort of call, and I think maybe a carry from St. John. And a timeout also being called by the Seawolves. I think, Luke, we have number 2 with the carry there.
Yeah. Honest to God, I think that there was a bit of a. I think on the Holland side there was back-to-back touches that were one-hand touches from the Holland team that I think had a case for being maybe a dirty touch. And when the ball came back over, I thought that was a closed fist that we saw hit that ball, and maybe caught up in all that. The play got blown dead, and maybe the lift got awarded to the wrong team. I'm not sure that anybody had a dirty touch, but I definitely don't think UNBSJ did. But again, to be fair, the person that made that call had the best perspective in the gym.
Exactly, and that's exactly right. Matt Bedard also here up top on the first referee position. I believe that's Mr. Bedard, and he's been in the league for quite a while, so he knows what he's doing. It looked like that was actually a very clean set by what looks like Sinclair from the Hurricane side. That second touch, however, was a little bit of a scramble, but that's fine. 6-1, Holland pretty comfortable.
Sinclair, a 6-foot setter. You love to have an asset like that where you don't really have to worry about them as a liability blocking as well. Has more than enough size and athleticism to do that. He's also a first year out of Australia.
Whoa, down under.
Can't get much farther than that as far as Canada.
I love it. We love to see it. And Holland always has quite a diverse squad, which you love to see.
They do a great job recruiting.
And we're back to it, folks. So St. John now has 1 timeout remaining, and it's Parsons again. He sends it over for Holland. And that one is going to go just over the top. Tucker just catches that one in no man's land on the chest. Unable to get it where he wanted.
So all Holland to start this one. A 7-1 start for the away team. Seawolves going to have to dig deep here if they want to go on a run.
And we have a correction, folks, and this is why we love it. Nick Fraser priming it. That's actually Darren Doucette in the first referee position. My apologies, Darren. Thank you for the clarification, Nick. And a big swing, but out the back. There is a touch being asked for by Holland.
Honestly, I think there was a touch as well. I think Holland is rightfully asking for it, but, again, that is the way it is. Yeah, I think we actually have Matty Bedard down the line.
Yes, thank you. You're right. Linesman Matt Bedard.
Back now to serve side. Tucker from UNBSJ. Tucker was really, really good in their first one of the season last weekend versus Stu, so we'd like to see him have a strong game as well.
Big float all the way out the back for Tucker. Not quite what he probably wanted to start with, but that's all right for him.
So now to the front court for the first time for Holland. That's number 4. That's Sinclair. So, yeah, they are playing Calhoun out of the right side. That must have been the first rotation. He was out of the left side.
Good observation, Luke. 3, we've got Calhoun with the spinner, and he puts his out of bounds as well. Calhoun, a good front row rotation. He's probably looking to get that one back. And the young Kendall Austin hits to the service line. One of only 2 third-year players for St. John. Very young squad they have this year. 3'8". And he goes for his spin. Nice high spinner. That one's out of bounds as well.
So they trade missed spin serves. Back now to serve for the Hurricanes. That's number 9. That's Luke Hyde. He had a couple of nice reps when he was front court, and back now to serve.
Part of the point gap here, Luke, is we're looking at 2 unforced errors and 2 service errors for St. John, and we're looking at about a 6-point gap. So we're looking at 4 out of their points of the gap here being errors. That'll be definitely something to clean up. Great dig by Calhoun. And it's brought back appropriately, but not quite sent the right way for Calhoun the second time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the call is there. I think to some extent, I guess it must have gone outside the antenna, or like why? Because it seems to me that, and maybe you have a better perception of it, but it seems to me that that Finn Kearney-Stoughton has every right to play that ball, doesn't he, if it went back in play?
Absolutely, yep, exactly.
Was he letting it, maybe they both thought it would have gone out of bounds?
It's always a tricky one, right? Because if it goes through the antenna and it's going to be out of bounds, you can bring it back through the antenna, and if it's not, then you have to go the other way.
Really nice
So it is
serve.
a tricky one. Great serve. It's going to be a tempo set and a big block in the front row. But a big dig for Holland. Kendall's going to pick it up, and it's tipped over. Kiefer's going to be out for this one, so the libero's going to have to overbump that one. Kendall's going to pick it up once more. McClellan will set the middle. Nice high swing, and it's out of bounds.
Wow, I think there's people in the gym that were looking for a double touch on that Calhoun set. But to some extent, too, like, you kind of shoot yourselves in the foot if you're UNBSJ. The reason Holland won that point isn't because you forced that error, it's because you had a free ball and you weren't able to capitalize on it.
Basilio now for Holland. He sends it through. McClellan's going to set the left side, and it's off the touch of the block. Calhoun will pick it up, and it looks like Kiefer's going to set the left side. It's off the touch and picked up well, but there's contact made on the net.
Yep. Down judge Jen Brown with the call. I think she put that one on number 11, Willis, although he's saying he didn't touch it. So that's what he would say.
He always whodunit.
Yeah.
The old classic.
Back now to serve for the Hurricanes. I believe that's number 13.
It is, yep. That
is
our man Basilio. And a nice high swing out of the pipe position for St. John. It looks like Sinclair's going to set the middle. There's a touch there, though, so it'll get picked up. McClellan will push left.
Really nice push by
McClellan. Off the block and down. Great swing.
Really nice push by McClellan. That was still basically first tempo for Blizzard. Ball came out completely clean, and it was such a strange platform for him to do so. Impressive play.
Yeah, good job on Dickinson to pick that one up, kind of near that red line, able to set up the offense so that Blizzard could get that swing.
Yeah, I was talking to Dickinson before the game. He was saying that he might have tweaked his neck a little bit in the weight room earlier this week, and the mobility might be a little bit labored. So to know that and still see that play, that's great by him.
Great pickup by Sinclair, and Calhoun's going to have to roll it on the inside. McClellan's there, which means Willis is going to have to set the left side. That will be a double call.
Yeah.
It's tough as the middle because you kind of want to rotate from the right to the left to get that power set, but oftentimes you're going to make that odd rotation and you're going to get called for the double.
For Willis too, that's one of the only like, you know, positions where he'll find himself there, that one rotation when he's backcourt. So can't expect too much from that position.
That's exactly right. Big serve there from Sinclair. Good all-around player. He's doing well in the front for his team, and then he runs back for a spinner like that. It's tough to manage. Second timeout, early timeout, Luke, called for St. John here. What are your thoughts?
I mean, since the beginning of the game when they started off, I think it was 7-1. You know, that was that 6-point difference. Now it's up to 8, so a little bit bigger. But to some extent, since that point, it's basically just been point for point. And, you know, that kind of can't be how it is if you want to make the comeback here as UNBSJ. You need to start cutting away those points. And it doesn't have to happen all in one streak. But for every point that you give up and goes to their serve, you need to kind of rattle off 2 or 3 on your side if you're going to make this comeback. If you're going to keep trading points, you know, you're going to find yourself in that situation where the game's going to end and nothing's really changed. It's probably 25-18, and, you know, you would have lost the game in the first 10 points.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This lends, too, that St. John now has no further timeouts as Coach Karatsios has deemed to call both in this early sort of set. But I think that's the right call. I mean, what you're trying to do, I think, too, is manage the energy here. And Holland has come out just swinging. In terms of errors, like we talked about before, St. John now has 6 errors, and it's an 8-point gap. So, again, it's not necessarily Holland playing extraordinary volleyball to the point where St. John can't manage, so much as it is a bit of a shooting themselves in the foot there for St. John. 13-5. Holland College still has 2 timeouts remaining. And it is Sinclair at the service line, his 4th.
Yeah, last one was a bomb.
Another spinner from Sinclair. This one's coming over. And it goes just off the stand. Kendall gets there with a great hustle. And it just unable to kind of put it in a position to send the third one over.
Yeah, good effort there by Kendall, but just a great serve again by Sinclair. Dickinson tries to take it with the hands. A little bit too strong as it goes through the mitts, and Kendall gets a touch on it, but it's a little bit too late.
We got a substitution on the Hurricane side. It looks like Chase Parsons will be substituting. William Castle coming in the middle at a 6'3" at a Rexton.
William Castle, the only New Brunswicker on the Holland team.
Love to see it. Lid picks it up, so Sinclair's going to set the pipe. Big swing out of the middle and a touch.
Awesome.
There's not much you can do about that.
That is so awesome. Really, really awesome run by Holland. To some extent, things like that, like those option plays where you're not just running your basic 3 hitters in their first tempo, is a coaching point. And credit to first year coach Brett Butler, longtime great player in this league, getting his team in the right position when they have those opportunities.
Yes, sir. I didn't actually notice that was Butler, so that's excellent to see him contributing back from what he was contributed to back in his day. Butler elects to make a second. We got a couple substitutions here, folks, actually. So on the UNBSJ side, number 4 is popping in. Carlos Paz-Brizio is coming in place. CPB for McClellan. So that's going to be a substitution there. And then Holland is also making a substitution. Luke, you might have to help me with that one. I lost our guy. Looks like 9 came off, so Hyde came
I think
off.
14 came in.
And it looks like we've got.
Oh, no, Castle came in last
Yeah,
play.
Castle came in last play.
11 maybe? Nathan
Yes,
Baker?
Nathan
That
Baker.
sounds
That's
new.
the one. That's the one. Mr. Baker coming in as well.
Nate Baker. But yeah, so the you'll see here. Oh, nice serve.
Paz Brizio sends it over. 15-6, Holland still on top. Calhoun gets up there for a big
Dunked
tip.
it. Yep. That's really good athleticism by Calhoun there. He just hung up in the space, a little bit longer than I think they were expecting that first tempo hit to be, and just tips it past the block. The Seawolves do this. So CPB will come in for McClellan when he's going into the service position, and I think he actually stays a handful of rotations to set as well. They like him as a setter.
Okay. Speaking of which, CPB sets left. It's going to be Kendall with a high swing, and it's going to be out of bounds.
No, I thought the timing was nice there, and right on cue, CPB with a really good kind of in-tempo set. When you get yourself pulled over like that as the setter to the power position, you don't really have the luxury of throwing up this high lofty ball like you usually do for there. It almost comes out more like a middle meter set just so that the timing for the power is still the same.
Exactly right. We have, it looks, Sinclair's raising his hand as the floor captain now because Calhoun just came off, and it looks like we've got Eddie Haskins in for the Hurricanes. 17-6. Becoming in, and we've got a rotation error on the Seawolves.
Yeah,
really
so they're just looking at CPB here for leaving early. It looks like Paz Brizio got maybe getting pulled for it, but he just took off from behind. So as you'll see here, McClellan is supposed to start behind his teammate in front of him, and he's not allowed to pass in front of him until the ball is contacted. Actually, I believe it's until it crosses the tape of the net, but that's very, very rarely enforced. But they must have had Paz Brizio ahead of his teammate before the ball was contacted.
And really not what wants to be happened here for the Seawolves at a score of 17-6. I'm sure Coach Grazios is not overly pleased with that one. Big block coming in from the Holland side as they extend the lead to 13 points.
That actually looked like a really nice middle run. I think, UNBSJ would have been happy with all those contacts had they not been blocked. But there was good pass, there was good timing for the middle run, and if it hadn't been blocked the way it was, I would imagine it probably would have been a pretty big hit. So credit to Holland there. They kind of have the answer for everything right now.
Gray continues his second. This one's picked up well. It looks like McClellan will push it back to the right side, and this one just doesn't quite get over the tape for Arsenault. Arsenault had a good approach there, Luke. I think maybe it just caught him behind the shoulder. Another substitution, folks, as we are substituting at this point, Gray. And number 8, Johnny Hindman, is coming in from Charlottetown, PEI.
You're working, aren't they? I mean, make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is about as bad as a beatdown gets in volleyball. The reason you're seeing the depth of the bench you are now is because the only reason this game hasn't ended is technicality. They have to reach 25, but I don't know if to some extent sometimes it's a nice goal when you're really beating up on a team. You think to yourself, hey, we want to get to 25-12, so you more than doubled them, but to be battling for double digits here, that's just why you're seeing a lot of the backups for Holland.
Ball's off the touch of the block, and St. John will pick it up. It looks like McClellan will set left, and it's off the touch once more. They'll have another chance, so McClellan brings it up and sets right side now. It's Kendall, and he does a push tip. Libero's there, but no luck.
And honestly, I don't even really know if there's a great reason why Holland is doing so much better than UNBSJ right now. I don't think UNBSJ has shot themselves in the foot too much. I think they've been happy with most of their touches and their runs, but Holland's just been playing so sound. Their offense has been running awesome. They've been blocking well. They've been defending well. They haven't really been missing their serves when they have the opportunity.
And that's number 9 with a service error, unfortunately for the Seawolves, as it heads back to the Hurricane side.
Castle back to serve.
And another substitution, folks, as number 12 comes back in, I believe. Oh, sorry, Connor Goril coming in for Chris Basilio.
We're getting the full gamut.
That's right. Nice to see quite a bit of bench players on both sides actually getting some floor time, so that's excellent. So there was a substitution called. That was not an error. Mistook the whistle for a progression. 21-8, folks.
There actually is a maximum amount that you're allowed to substitute within a game for the fans at home. I'm not sure. Maybe, Blair, you know what the number is?
I actually don't. If you do know, leave us a little comment.
Yeah,
let us know.
We have some aficionados of the rules watching.
Big block. Great outside block. Tucker.
And Tucker's fired up, man. He's telling the boys. That's the nice thing about volleyball. You can get a game where the other team kind of gives you the work, and you still got, it's a completely blank slate the next game. And you see it all the time where teams will trade 1-1, 2-2.
And I like to see it right now, actually, for Tucker, because he knows that the chances of this set are minimal. But like you said, Luke, he's coming in, big block, big ace. He's getting the boys fired up for the next potential set, which is huge.
Yeah, don't sleep on the momentum you can build, even from a solo point of view. Because from the Holland point of view, there's a lot of people in that maybe if this game was closer wouldn't be in right now. But if you're Tucker, if you can get yourself fired up for the next set and playing better, that's a huge win.
Like you say, it's all about that momentum, that energy. Tucker with his second. It's picked up by the Holland side. Sinclair will push left, and it's going to be a nice high swing off the block and down yet again for Austin Kendall.
Yep. Austin Kendall, a nice big presence on the outside there, 6'4", big arms, big long arms.
Great height, too, from Goral, I believe, out of that left side for the Hurricanes. Just unable to get past that defensive wall. Tucker now, his third serve in a row, and that one is going to hit the tape.
Tucker not very happy with himself, but you like a kid that keeps himself accountable. Not bad, though. That was probably one of the stronger stretches in the game for UNBSJ. And ripping off those three-point stretches is what it is going to take, especially if you're in a game down like this. Just trading points just puts it makes it too susceptible for the other team to start putting their foot on the gas.
Eddie Haskins with a spin serve. He puts that one into the net. And, look, we're actually sitting up for service errors even. St. John has 3, and that's the third for Holland so far this set, is 3 errors apiece for service errors.
Right. Hitting errors and contact errors, I'd imagine.
Yeah, a little bit of a disparity there. We'll do it again at the end. Great pickup, but, yeah, Sinclair gives a big smile. Yeah. Big smile for Sinclair as he open hand double touch that one. He knows right away. He's not worried about that. Kendall doing a good job of getting that one over the tape. And Dawn Robertson has just commented, thank you, Dawn. 15 subs are allowed per set, she says. And I think that is extremely accurate. I knew it was in the double digits, but thank you, Dawn, for popping in with that comment. 15 substitutions. And I think both teams are nowhere close, so we don't really have to worry about that too much.
Usually it only happens when some teams will do a system where they have they prefer to always have their setter be backcourt, and any time if they have 2 right sides they're fairly confident in and 2 setters that they're fairly confident in.
Now we're I'm not sure about this one, Luke. Kendall has been asked to be substituted off, and we have Noah Palmer coming in. Kendall he's pointing to his foot, and he is coming off the court entirely. Okay, I believe we have some blood on the court. So if there's blood on the court, folks, you do have to be taken off, get that patched up, and get back to the action. Holland, 23-13. Spin serve coming in from Baker.
Really nice serve.
Yeah, well received, too. To the left side now, and it's going to be a volley over. Sinclair will push all the way left, and it's going to be tipped and out of bounds by Johnny Hindman.
I'd love to see the Seawolves rattle off 4 or 5 here before the game is out. It makes it look a lot more respectable, and like I said, it totally gives you the momentum to say, hey, next time, when we get onto that side, we'll see them.
That's exactly right, Luke. Spinner coming in now for St. John.
Awesome
well
serve,
received.
Handled well, yeah.
And a bit of a traffic jam for Holland College. McClellan will push left. A nice high swing off the touch of the block. A bit of an overbump, and everybody gets up for it. It comes back down on Holland's side. Sinclair to the middle. Push tip. Dug well by St. John. McClellan will push left again.
Wow.
And a nice high swing. Another dig. Sinclair now to the left side.
Awesome.
Big block. Libero's there. And a bit of a scramble play. Everybody's up. There's going to be a point for St. John.
Right on cue. Those are the hands we were talking about, man. That was an awesome point if you're McClellan. Honestly, that was an awesome point of volleyball. Lots of really disciplined aspects of it. Lots of really high explosion to it. When people were getting blocked or when there were big hits being landed, they were getting dug up. Both teams battled on that one.
That's a great spin serve coming in hot, too, from Kearney Staunton. Yeah, out of bounds. Luke, we're kind of seeing what you're requesting there.
Yep.
A few points in a row, St. John getting a bit more energy.
Yeah, 100%.
They're not overly optimistic in the sense that it's 23-16, but we even see a timeout here called by Coach Butler for the Hurricanes, and I think that's quite wise.
See, I know what you mean, but see, I only think it's wise if you really believe that your team is going to lose this game. Because that timeout is absolutely a submission. And no matter how you swing it, even if there are people in this game that might not be in the game next set, from a UNBSJ point of view, you feel so much better going into the second set now. You put the pressure on. If I was Coach Brett Butler, I think I would have let them grind it out until it actually was feasible that this might be over, considering they're still 7 points down. I think the submission is a little bit more than you'd want to give for momentum to a UNBSJ team right now. Yeah,
I don't hate that perspective. I can't say I entirely agree in the sense that Butler, with his history, would also understand that I feel like he's trying to earn himself a bit of a coaching point here, trying to just ice that serve. Because, frankly, Kearney Staunton's got a bit of a hot hand.
For sure.
And I think it's fun to be able to get the boys, lose the point, lose the flow, get side out, you're 24, and you're right back into it. Yeah. So I think you're right. But in terms of submission, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, for sure. I know what you mean, and he could definitely be looking at it as an opportunity to freeze Kearney Stoughton here on the service line.
And frankly, Butler has 2 timeouts, and that's his first one, and he basically had a free one with St. John using both of theirs. McClellan will push it back, and it's off the touch, and maybe a second touch. In the front row, Arsenault has had several big bombs this first set laid into it.
Yeah, 100%. He's done a good job, too, of just hard off the hands. You don't always need to be trying to hit it downwards. If you can make sure that it's going to be landing in and coming with some pace, it's usually a pretty good option.
And Kearney Stoughton doing a good job of coming in hot off the timeout as well. And there's another one, but that's the error I think that Coach Butler was looking for. Much more strange bit of a score we have now. Luke, 17-24. We were looking at 6-17 initially.
Yep.
Quite a difference.
A good job by UNBSJ to kind of battle back into this one. I think when we were 10 points in, I said, we don't want this to be a game that ends 25-18. But by the same merit from where they were, I think UNBSJ has to be really happy with how they've kind of rallied for the second half of this game.
And really, Arsenault has been the catalyst. Yeah,
right on cue.
Another big bang from him. Serve now for St. John going to Cameron Willis out of Fredericton.
So he came in to supplement Tom Blizzard.
And that's the end of the set, folks. First W goes to the Holland College Hurricane at a score of 25 and 18 for the score of the Seawolves. Am I making any adjustments here, Luke, if I'm the Hurricanes?
Well, I tell you what, man, it's hard to say at any one time in that game what the game plan was, considering how much change we saw and how so early in this set it seemed like it was almost a lost set for UNBSJ. I think the first 8 points, it was 7-1. And it's hard to really gauge, much about the competition level on that one, because we know that UNBSJ is going to perform better to come out of this, at least expectedly so. I would say that you're likely going back to the lineup that you started with. Now, on the UNBSJ side, who knows? Who knows what's going on with Austin Kendall? He looks like now he's got some tape on that leg, so if he's healthy, maybe they'll be going back with them. I would imagine that maybe they ride the hand with Arsenault, but Arsenault, I think, got in because they had kind of thrown the towel in and were doing a little bit of what Holland was doing. If you believe that, Tom Blizzard is your starter, I would imagine that maybe they go back to him as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the way they choose the lineups based on that, because there was a lot of substitutions on both ends. I think a bit of experimentation either way. So it'll be good to see back both.
Yeah.
At this point, folks, we're going to say thanks to our sponsors, the UNB Associated Alumni, One Team Sports Group, Chartwell's UNBSJ, and ACAA TV, powered by Sports Canada Television, and even maybe a bit more than our sponsors, but don't tell them. We want to thank our viewers. Currently, we've got 56 people watching. Thanks, folks. Thanks for watching from wherever you are. I hope it's not bad weather wherever you are, and we appreciate your viewership. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscription.
Yeah, drop a comment in there. Tell us who you're rooting for.
That's right. Say go Holland. Say go St. John. Say go
Bengals.
Men's sports. Go Bengals. Yeah, whatever you think. We love to see it, and we're happy to have you.
Yeah, I think it's got to happen off the hop here if you're UNBSJ. You can't find yourself in the hole like you did. Just looking at the lineup, it looks like they're going to roll with the hot hand. Arsenault is out there.
Yeah, so in terms of lineup, Kendall's back, like you stated. We got McClellan, Tucker, Arsenault. You're right. He was substituted initially, and now he's back in. And in the back row there, we've also got Willis. He started too. And I think that's also Kearney Staunton.
The only change I think we're getting is Arsenault.
I think so as well. Paz Brizio actually with the libero jersey now as well. He was a potential setter there in the first row. Hurricane side of things, looks like we've still got the regular lineup. We've got Calhoun in the front, and we've also got Parsons. And on the other side, it looks like Sinclair is in the back row as well, which is great. We still got McBride in the libero position. He's been quite present, actually, in the backcourt, making himself 100%. Known.
To some extent, sometimes with liberos, no news is good news. So much is expected of them that you only really talk about them when they miss their assignments. So if you're not talking about a libero a whole lot, that's usually not so bad.
And we've still got Gray for serve. 0-0 here in the second set, folks.
Brandon Dickinson looks like he's favoring his neck there on the sideline. He told me he did tweak his neck when he was working out this week. And I know that the team is really high on him as their libero. So for him to be out, I'd imagine he probably came in and said, I don't feel great.
Double middle run for Tucker, and it gets put back. Big swing off the block, and that's Calhoun.
Nice smooth approach there. I think when you're teaching volleyball, you tell people that it's that three-step approach, the 1-2-1. But sometimes, especially when things are a little scrambly, your approach as a hitter is basically just a little two-foot hop, and that's kind of what we saw from Calhoun there, and it was a great execution.
Gray with another serve, his second. It'll be sent to the left side for Arsenault, and that's going to be a double touch, I believe. McClellan displeased with himself on that one. And rounding us out in the front row for Holland is Hyde there, number 9 on the left side there, Luke. I couldn't catch his number, but we've got the full set now. Gray.
Great athletes everywhere on this Holland team.
2-0, starting off early, folks. If you're just joining us now, Holland took the first one, and this is the second. CPB picks it up. We're up at the net, and there's nobody home on the right side as Kendall just rocks a bit onto his heels and is unable to dig that one up.
Yep. It is Kendall's responsibility, but that's a great tip. Such a tough spot on the court to be defending at all times.
And you don't have to think of that front attack line opposite court tip. It's a tough one. Gray, his fourth serve coming across. That one's picked up by Kearney Staunton, and a big swing by Arsenault. He's the man.
Real heavy swing on him, and it puts a lot of pressure on the blockers to be stout up front. We've seen a couple of times now him hit the ball at a place where the blockers probably could get it, but he's won the point off their hands because they just haven't been, there quick enough or turned into the right direction. So credit to Arsenault for having a heavy swing like that. And
Arsenault's going up. Calhoun's a veteran blocker, 4th year on that right side, and he's the direct. Big swing, big pickup, great play. Arsenault sends it over. We'll come back to that point later. Sinclair to the middle, down.
And that's volleyball, man. The first one is an absolute bomb shot out of a cannon. Hits the defender in the middle of the chest, and UNBSJ is able to rally it over. Next one, they go back to the middle. He whiffs on it, kind of slips it through the block, and that one's the winner. So it's just about finding a spot in the court where the defense isn't.
CPB picks it up. It's a tight ball, but McClellan's fine with it. Arsenault just immediately down the line.
That boy's hot. You hate to see him go to the back court now. You'd rather have an opportunity to feed the beast, do a little heat check. But Arsenault's been a great spark plug so far for the Seawolves. And, when it was 3-0, I was hoping I wasn't going to have to bite my tongue and say they're going to start off the game. They did again. But a couple of nice points now to rally and make it a totally gettable game here.
Sinclair to Calhoun, and Calhoun says, what you can do, I can try and do better.
That's a bomb. That's actually such a great hit. I don't even think if the block had been dead to rights, would they be able to stop that. Hit real high, driven real hard, and a nice topspin to bring that in. Like I said, 2 to 3 feet before the end line again. So a great play by Calhoun. Calhoun's
absolutely monster serve as well.
It's exactly where he just dropped the last hit.
He likes that spot.
Yeah.
For a right-hander, it's kind of tricky to head down that line, Luke, as you would know on that outside,
absolutely.
And he's been hitting it consistently.
It's easier to start it down that line and play that spin into the middle of the court.
6-2 Holland up 4. That's a big cross, and McClellan gets there with his cape in the wind. Sinclair to the left side now, and it's a tip and just pushed over. Smart play.
Behind the head. Yeah, the Sinclair and number 9 there, Hyde, we're not exactly on the same page, I think, on timing there, but still a great use by Hyde there for a set that was a little behind him to push that off the hands and get the point.
Calhoun, his third now from the service line. Calhoun sitting on 6 kills so far this game.
Jeez.
Wow.
He's getting hot, man.
I don't know if you guys can hear the impact that ball is making on the players and the floor, but it is severe.
What do you say in the timeout? What's the timeout adjustment to that?
Yeah, this one's going to be a coaching timeout just in terms of trying to ice the serve.
I would say. That's an issue, man. That's got to be the best. I mean, I've called a couple games so far for all the teams here in this league, and unless I'm forgetting someone, that's got to be the hardest serve going in the league right now. When it's in, man, that is a bomb.
And the thing, too, that he's doing well, Calhoun, is it seems as if his initial is down the line, and then he's actually going entirely cross-court on the next, and then he's coming back down the line. It makes it predictable in the sense that he's doing the same thing consistently, but reading that seam, it's the opposite seam every time. Not easy to receive, to say the least.
Serve at that high level really puts the pressure on the defense.
Coach Butler, I think at this point, you're not saying a whole lot. You're just trying to let your guys know, hey, they're trying to ice the serve. Keep up the energy. Don't take your foot off the gas. Because as we kind of saw in that first set, 6-17 was where we started. We finished 18-25, well within the realm of competition. And he knows with his veterancy that, hey, if St. John gets the opportunity, they are going to capitalize. So he's just telling his boys probably, keep your foot on the gas, keep that hot hand going, and keep playing some good volleyball. Calhoun back to the service line. This will be number 4 or 5, I believe, for him. Let's see if the side out can be achieved for the Seawolves. And that one's way out of bounds. That is a coaching point, I would say.
Score one for Dino.
Coach Karatsios with a well-placed timeout, lends the side out for the Seawolves.
Back now to serve for Tucker. So, Seawolves down early, kind of like we saw in the first set. Gotta try and rally the troops now. A couple really big serves coming up here. First and foremost, got to get them in.
Tucker sends hits float over. It's picked up and sent to Sinclair. Out of the middle now. It's a push tip and dug well. Kendall does get a fist on it. So Kearney Staunton's there. Sinclair now to the left side and a big swing and a contact on the net. And I think that is going to be called on Mr. Willis.
It's the second one. Yeah, to some extent it's a crime of intensity. A lot of the times the people that are touching the net are just trying so hard to get involved with the play or trying so hard to rebound from a bad position and get there so that they're not leaving the block open, but it leaves you susceptible to things like that.
Hyde's coming in with his spin, and CPB picks it up, but it's going to the other side. To the left side now for Holland, and a big swing and a touch made by Arsenault, but just not quite in the right direction.
Arsenault had a really nice touch on the last one that was hard driven on the net touch by Willis. So Arsenault doing a lot right now for the Seawolves.
Arsenault sitting at 8 kills, Luke, on this game so far. He's had a few more attempts than Calhoun, but doing a good job. Hyde sends another spinner in, this one a little more shallow. McClellan's going to set Kendall, and it's off the touch, and McBride is there, but not a third touch. I feel like Kendall might need to be utilized just slightly more here, Luke. We're not seeing as much of a spread to that back end.
Honestly,
what are your thoughts?
That was one of the first times I think he's been set since this set started. Him and McClellan have a good relationship. I think McClellan understands that Kendall likes it really, really tempo. He likes to take two quick steps and then have the ball right there, and right there they were able to find it in the wheelhouse. I think on off-ball sets, though, sometimes it makes it tough to find him, and I think it's one of the reasons why maybe you don't see him getting as many sets, though they do like the C-ball set to him in this position.
Yeah, that's very true. McClellan to the middle there. That's a nice big swing by Willis. I want to see him utilized more, too.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I said in the pregame that if they can get a big game out of Willis, that it puts them in a really, really good position to be able to hang out today, to be able to compete, because, they are, so far this season, they only do have one win, but I think they have the talent to compete with all these teams in the league. It's just a matter of their more talented players showing up on game day.
Kearney Staunton sends one to McBride. He receives it decently, and it's brought back for a nice high swing off the touch of the block. Kendall's going to put a fist up, but that might have just been a bit of a wrong play as Kearney Staunton was coming across. You can kind of see Kendall disappointed there.
I think Arsenault thought he was closer to the net than he was, and to Kendall's point of being disappointed, I think the more logical play there is to get that ball back up in the air and let someone else take a swing on it, just because of how off balance it looked like Arsenault was. But that's just kind of how she goes sometimes.
Isn't that the truth?
You got call.
Unfortunately, there is another net contact. I believe that one's on.
No. They called the double on.
Oh, excuse me. Yep, double. Thanks,
McClellan.
man.
It was on the verge, I think, earlier maybe in the game. There have been calls where it came out like that, and maybe somebody didn't get the call on them. But especially as the setter that comes out like that, coming straight toward the head judge, you're going to get that call.
Nice high swing by Arsenault. Calhoun now.
That's a bomb.
That's just not really defendable. If it gets past the block in that point, there's not really a way to dig that ball.
Honest to God, I thought that there was a chance that set would have been called for the same double that I thought McClellan's was. Obviously, a difference of opinion from the head ref there, and a huge swing by Calhoun. I mean, that was the biggest swing of the day. That wasn't that high, hard swing, top spin to the back line. That was, I don't have a block, I'm going to open this one up.
And honestly, if I'm Darren Johnson, I would have let that go just because I'd love to see that swing right in front of my face. It just looks so beautiful.
Yeah, I think the only thing would be is I could imagine that you could blow the whistle before that was hit, but
yeah,
Calhoun, man, he's having
a day. I don't think we could take it away from him. 14-5, Luke. So not quite the point gap that we saw, but we saw 6-17 in that first set. So what's going on here? Why are we getting this big gap with St. John? They seem to be able to close it towards the second half, but it's almost like an initial energy, an initial thrust.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I would say that their serve receive and their serve, serve difficulty so far, that has really favored Holland. They've been on the offensive with what feels like all day. And like I said, it doesn't feel like UNBSJ is shooting themselves in the foot too much, but just kind of always being on their back foot, it's showing up in the scoreboard.
14-5, Holland's up. Sinclair's got the serve. He spins it over, and it's picked up by Arsenault. It looks like McClellan will push Arsenault again. There is a contact there, and it's down. Nice spin on that ball by Arsenault.
Arsenault just being a winner right now.
He is being a winner. I couldn't agree more. He's got that energy.
Sometimes you get hot.
Arsenal was a sub on, we were forgetting here in the first set.
Yep, absolutely.
Good job. Willis now the service line, and you actually made the earlier point about serve receive, Luke, and it's funny because we talked about how we would like to see the offense being a bit more spread on the UNBSJ side, but that starts with the serve receive.
That's such a nice set.
And even when Calhoun gets a double block like that, he just swipes it off the block and it's out of bounds. 100%. Great player, fourth-year player. You can just see it.
I honestly love the I feel like it's a more modern turn in volleyball, the practice of putting your best straight swinger as a right side as opposed to your left side.
I think you're right.
I think it's a little bit more of a modern look. I think the new way to look at it. I think before your best player was always your outside, was one of your left sides. They were always included in the defense, always included in the serve receive, and would probably get the highest volume of sets. But it seems like a little bit of the new wave is to. Oh my goodness! And
we have a chest bump made from the back row. What a play!
No.
Who was that? Gray. Carson Gray just taking one right from the chest.
He's having a laugh about it. That's awesome.
You can tell he was watching the World Cup there a few months ago.
Yeah, but I think kind of the new wave is if you have a guy that's just an absolutely amazing hitter for you, it's almost viewed as wasting him being part of your defense, because if he's not included in that defense or that serve receive, he's allowed to just wait and get into his lane as soon as that ball's passed up and be an option to hit every time.
Yes, substitution for Holland here as 7. Chase Parsons heads off, and it looks like we just got Shannon Holwell into the front row out of Nain, Labrador. First-year player.
Labrador.
Serve comes over. It's received by Tucker. Back to Tucker off the block.
The give and go.
And Nain gets back.
Call that.
That one is going to be out of bounds. Calhoun knew it. And I said Nain, but he is from Nain. Excuse me, Holwell, with actually coming right in, serve, and then an immediate dig. Good job by Holwell. Arsenault now 8-16. Duplication of score, but not outside the realm of achievability for St. John. That one's sent over. McBride's going to get there. Left-handed tip off the middle. CPB will pick. Excuse me, that's not CPB. We've got Jonathan Fraser Monroe for the lib of St. John. Calhoun off the touch.
He's a problem right now.
He's a big problem right now, Luke. And what do you do there? Do you sub in some big guys and just dedicate it 2-1 there, or what's the play? Do you just try and get the triple block?
Well, you have to learn. You have to. Okay, so the best way to look at it is you're not going to be able to just outright stop them in a chess piece point of view. You probably don't have. There's very few people I'd say in the league right now that you could just say, hey, I can put them out there and worry about them taking care of them every time. But you need to just play defense around it in a way that puts you in a position to succeed. So maybe say to your blocker, hey, I need you blocking line every time, and then we can set up a defense inside that at least helps us have a chance to get a touch on it. If you're inconsistent in your responsibilities around him, and you can let him, take line when it's there and take cross when it's there, he's going to pick you apart like he has so far.
$17-9 now. Hurricanes remain on top as Tucker prepares for his service. Think first referee Darren was just looking to see if the boys wanted a towel. I think that was what that was. Just taking a little, yeah, Darren Doucette just asking if they needed a towel. That's awfully considerate. And Tucker is to serve. He sends it over.
Justin Ricks now in setting. Ooh, nice little wipe by him.
Oh, there must have been a double substitution earlier, I suppose. Ball still in play as it's a bit of a scramble, but McBride gets rid of it out of the middle, and that ball is very low set for Willis, unfortunately.
Yeah, that one never had a chance, unfortunately. Nice hands by Tucker there. Not a whole lot of points that he's in there in the backcourt playing defense, so a good push by him.
Yes, you're right, Luke. I think Ricks came on at the same time that Holwell did earlier for Holland, and now Ricks is in the setter position.
Hyde back now to serve. Bit of a quiet second set from him, but he's played good all game.
Big pickup for St. John. Big swing, but out of bounds, and
no touch.
Just not doing themselves a whole lot of favors here for UNBSJ.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the difference so far is that when Holland has gotten those good passes, they've capitalized and they've put their swingers in positions to take the points. And UNBSJ has had some nice swings, but they've also had ones where they swung it out or the play lives on like
Ball's
this.
Up, Calhoun right off the neck, and a big block, and it's out.
It's out.
It's in. Excuse us.
Whoa.
Tight call. But you know what?
Calhoun using his head.
Yep, right off the chin on that one.
You love taking one off the face
just
so you
can
have a laugh about it later. You'd honestly prefer, as a volleyball player, to have one go off your face in the game than not.
Absolutely.
Just because it's so for the boys.
Kendall now with his spin. Sent over McBride, picks it up. And Ricks, yeah, that one's definitely going to be either a carry or a double. Bit of a left shoulder set from Ricks. 11-19, St. John slowly closing the gap. We're still within 8 as Kendall goes for his second. Kendall with his spin off the tape, and it's picked up. Ricks will set left, and that's Gray. Picked up by Kendall, and then McClellan will have to push tip it. McBride picks it up, and Ricks to the middle now. It's going to be a tip as well. Kendall with his second tip pickup as Fraser Monroe sets left. Nice high roll shot. McBride goes out of bounds.
That's why that right there is why you go and put high swings on balls instead of volleying them over. Just put the pressure on. A really, really nice job there by Kendall fielding 2 tips out of that position.
Yeah, good heads-up play by Kendall. He was caught on his heels earlier, but it's nice to see the double dig to make up for it. Kendall with another serve, his third. This one is still in bounds, keeping it going. Ricks to the right side, to the pipe position. Arsenault will pick it up, so McClellan will set Kendall once more, and that one's out of bounds. As to the service line now, we have Chris Basilio, and a substitution being made as number 7 comes back on. Chase Parsons, and Holwell, after his rotation, heads back towards the bench for Holland. Basilio with a float, and it's sent over. CPB will pick it up. I'm a little bit
handled by Calhoun.
confused. Yeah, is it a double libero St. John is running, Luke?
Yeah, so we've seen this a little bit. This is kind of another new wave thing. You
Big
see
swing
more
out
of
of bounds
as
by
of late,
Calhoun.
is having a like a defensive libero and then an offensive libero. So as you'll see here, so when they're serving, it looks like they'll probably go with number 13. That's
Fraser Monroe.
Yeah, that's
instead
Fraser
of
Monroe.
CPB. Yeah.
JFM and CPB, the libs.
The guys with the acronyms.
Yeah.
I love it. And that's a big swing, actually, coming out of Kearney Staunton.
Really
Great
well.
serve. Blocked.
Soft
Willis
block.
has got to get up there again. Attaboy.
Man, really, really nice job there by Arsenault.
Ricks back to Calhoun. He struggles to take that one, and Kendall just crosses Kearney Staunton in the back row.
Calhoun takes a little, hop step backwards to make sure that he's still, can legally touch it. Just a hop step into it, and it's still a really nice high, hard swing to the backcourt. And that's why, I feel like a broken record said it a whole lot today, but that's why it's always important to try and get a swing on those balls going over if you can.
And Rick sends that one out the red line, giving St. John the point. 14-21. Holland remains on top here in this second set. Holland still has 2 timeouts remaining. The Seawolves have 0 at this time.
Both of the gentlemen on the bench, Blizzard and Palmer, have removed their warm-ups. So maybe they got the, hey, get warm from coach. I'd say that through 2 sets, it hasn't ever really been close for UNBSJ, and I wouldn't be surprised if head coach Dino Karatsios looks into the bench to say if anyone else, see if he can get a spark from someone that we haven't seen too much of so far.
Bit of a service error there for Willis as the ball swings back for Gray. Gray sends it over. It's picked up. McClellan will set the left side, and that's a big swing, but out of bounds for Arsenault. Just on the outside shoulder. And we have there we go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Bit of a confusion there, unfortunately, for first ref do set. Out of bounds, point Holland. 23-14. Gray with his second from the line. He sends it over. It's received by Kearney Staunton into the middle. And Tucker gets there, gets caught on the inside. Bit of an odd set by Ricks, but they'll allow it. And it looks like McClellan will push it back to Arsenault off the block, and McBride is there to receive it. Kearney Staunton to McClellan. He just does a little trickle, and McBride picks it up once more. Big block, but it's to the wrong way.
Nice hard, heavy swing there by Calhoun. So Ricks is a setter that he lets it get real deep into his hands on those set, and it's a fine line. Some refs have a tendency to call some of those a little bit more aggressively than others, but it leaves him susceptible to some lift calls and how handsy he gets and how much he kind of controls it and pushes it.
Man, McBride has just been, I would say he's second set MVP here for Holland. McBride has had a number of digs, and that ends the set.
He just walk off, over bump, killed it.
You love to see it as a libero. 25-14. The second set goes to the Holland College Hurricanes.
He's fired up about it. You got to love to see it.
You got to love that.
That's
First
just
set,
good volleyball.
First set 25-18, second set 25-14, and that kind of makes sense, unfortunately, for the Seawolves, Luke. Not a huge amount of change for them in terms of coming into this second set in terms of energy and differentials, although I'd like to see the performance from Arsenault there.
Yep.
A little more solid and a bit more of a spread offense towards the second half.
Yeah, I talked to Dino Karatsios before the game, and when they played Stu last weekend and won, Stu, one of the better teams in this league, they blocked so well. And right now, it seems that their biggest issue is they don't have a very good answer for the bigger hitters on the Holland side. If they could start to block a little better here in the third, I really don't think they're that close from competing in these games and from pushing these to those 25-23 situations with Holland today. I really do believe that. But it's got to happen. They need to be a little bit more disciplined with their blocking. And just it's not exactly about getting those huge blocks where you roof them and you win the point, but getting hands on those and popping it up so you can play defense around it is going to be what they're going to need to do here in the third if they want to have a chance of coming back.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Luke. And really, I think fundamentally, serve receive. We're not. Yep. Holland's got these monster serves that are just coming across the net, and it's not easy to receive them. And frankly, the whole game so far. 5 service errors for Holland. That's not a lot if you're pumping out these big spinners. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And it's not exactly about, it's about understanding those serves are going to be hard. You don't need to get perfect passes on them, but we can win off a 2-ball. If we can just get it into the air and be able to run, at least have some options and put some high balls on the outside, they don't need to be bombs. Just swing high, hard, and off hands and live to fight the next point.
Exactly. At this time, we'll thank our sponsors once more, folks. The UNB Associated Alumni, One Team Sports Group, Chartwell's UNBSJ, and ACAA TV powered by Sports Canada Television. And our 65, we're up to 65 viewers, folks. That is awesome. We had 56 at the end of the first set, and here we are in the third with 65. Love it. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a little comments. Say, hey, what's going on? Go Holland, go St. John, whatever you like. Let us know also if there's still technical difficulties or anything that you need or feel obligated to correct on our end. We are more than willing to receive constructive criticism. In terms of lineup changes, not Luke. Don't comment on Luke at all. Yeah, that won't be
thoughts. Keep them to yourself.
St. John, we have McClellan. Looks like we've got Arsenault, Willis.
Yeah.
There is a front row change up. We've got Fraser Monroe in the libero.
Palmer instead of Austin Kendall.
There you go. So Kendall has been sent to the bench, and we've got
supplemented.
Supplemented, exactly correct.
Yeah,
and then Holland side.
Noah Palmer, a first-year player, but I think he's upwards of if he's not the second, he's definitely top 5 in the league in kills per set. So he's been very effective when he's been out there. But Austin Kendall, a great third-year veteran, has been the starter so far this year. But this is Dino Karatsios leaning on some of his younger players here for a spark in the third. And
we've got Parsons back in for Holland side of things, and to the service line now we have Gray.
Doesn't look like we've seen any changes on the Holland side.
I think we do have a front row change. I'll correct that in just a moment. To the left side, a tip off the block, and that's Palmer getting pushed back down. Calhoun says, yes, please. I could be wrong, Luke, but no, you're right. It's just the substitution with Parsons. He was off for the second. Now he's back on. Yeah, Palmer's going to want that one back as it gets put back towards him. 2-0, early start for Holland in this third set. Gray with his second serve. Gray sends it over. It's picked up. Kearney Staunton, McClellan to the left side, and there's a swing, and it's going to be out of bounds. That's a swing for Palmer.
Skill for Palmer, technically, right?
I think so, yeah.
One touch, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, one touch.
On the board. So, 2-1 to start the game. Best start for UNBSJ so far.
It is, but I think that's to be celebrated in a
100%.
sense, right? You want them not to get away with that immediate throttle, and unfortunately Arsenault sends that one into the net. That is the 7th service error for UNBSJ. So, like we said, in terms of the differentials here, Luke, 5 total service errors on some, I would argue, a little bit higher velocity serves for Holland, 7 on St. John's side. Just doesn't allow them to create too much of a gap closer situation.
No, and missing serves is how you lose momentum. You can't string points together if you're not making your serves.
No,
so
nobody gets fired up.
It's not easy, but it's you're obviously going to have points go your way in these games, and usually there'll be a handful of them that are really, really good points that you earned and had big plays. But if you can't make the serve after it, you don't get to really ride that momentum.
Exactly right. Parsons sends it over. Arsenault receives. McClellan will send it to the right side. That's Palmer again. And it's picked up well by Gray. To the left, that's a big swing.
Wow, man.
By Hyde. Big swing.
Real job by Hyde to stay off the net there. That set was so tight. It looked. I couldn't believe we didn't see some kind of contact or chaos on the net, but great job for Hyde to go at that over the block that had him dead to rights and still drop that where he did.
Parsons again, his third from the service line now. Picked up by CPB and sent to the left side. And it's off the block and sent over, so it'll be a free ball situation. To the left side, it's Hyde again, and he gets blocked. Big block.
Palmer.
And Willis up there, too. Those boys are tall.
Yeah.
What do we got for demographics here? Yeah. Palmer's coming in at 6'5", and Willis is popping at 6'5" as well. My goodness.
Not
big
bad.
boys. I'm sure I was 6'5" back when I played.
Yeah. I know, man.
Willis now to the service line, 2-4. McBride is there, says no problem. To the left now, it's Hyde once more. Tip, and it's picked up by McClellan. Great dive. Kearney Staunton gets roofed by Calhoun by the looks of the celebration there.
Calhoun all fired up about it. I honestly think from his look in his face that Basilio was totally involved in that touch too, but was letting Calhoun have his moment.
That's right. Calhoun now from the service line. He's going with his spin.
God, he gets
Arsenault does a good job of receiving it, and Palmer sends it back to Gray. To the left side goes Sinclair, and Hyde sends it as a tip. McClellan's there.
Oh, yeah, left.
We calling that a lift? Okay, yeah. A lift. Thought it might have been close palm, but obviously my vision is not as good.
Nick Fraser, who's probably listening in right now, told me a crazy stat about the way that rule is actually written. It's got to do with it has to legitimately come to a stop and be redirected for it to be considered a lift.
Oh.
Hard to say if you could think that ball came in, but I think the letter of the
wow.
law and the rule of the law aren't exactly the same thing in that. And we talked about it too with like the rotational movement. It's just too hard to police those perfectly.
Substitutions coming in for Holland College. Number 11 is coming back in, Nathan Baker, as it looks like Hyde, kind of an odd substitution, I guess, but a bit of a point gap perhaps is the reason. Timeout St. John being called. That's their first. They have one remaining. But that's Hyde coming off. Lucas Baker heads back on.
Right. Man, you can't. I mean, it just makes it so hard in any of these games against a team that you're already, probably an underdog against, and now 8-9 points into the game, you're down 5 and have to outscore them by 7 if you want to win over the next 30 or 40 points. It's a tough spot to be in if you're UNBSJ. Now, it's totally not over, and this is one of the more surmountable gaps that they've had so far against Holland, but it has to start now, and it has to start. You need a spark plug from somebody that's on the court. And Noah Palmer's been nice since he's got in. He's got himself a kill on a block, and Arsenault has had some nice moments so far as well. But if you can get McClellan to start really dishing this offense and have him dial in here, I think that, obviously UNBSJ has a chance, but I think it's going to have to come from some of their veteran leaders, and one of them I'm looking for is McClellan here.
And it's interesting, too, Luke, because, with a 4-team league, everybody makes playoffs, right? But if you're Holland, you do want to be separating yourself a little bit. You're 5-5 on the season. You want to be coming into your own, kind of really developing this strong edge volleyball as we are heading into February and kind of headed towards those last 2 months of the season.
Yep.
And speaking of which, Calhoun with the big spinner. And another technical ace for Calhoun, his 5th.
5 aces for him?
5 aces, technical aces, 1 touch or less.
Yeah, I know.
So, the guy's making a difference. There's no doubt about it. 4th-year player.
Oh, it looks like Hyde's having a moment here with the trainer. I hope everything's all right over there.
Another big swing. And, too big for the net on that one. Calhoun just blasts it through the tape. Remember back in the day, they used to not, if it touched the net at all, there was a problem, wasn't it? Rules have changed a lot over the years for volleyball.
They make it
a let. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's what
they make it. They make it a de facto.
Man! There's not a lot you can do about that.
Dude, is that 3 in a row?
That's 3 in a row, tic-tac-toe. 10-2. Calhoun.
Calhoun, man.
Where's this guy from? I think we announced it. Calhoun.
What's this guy's deal?
Timmins, Ontario, man.
Timmins, Ontario. Good for him, man.
Couple NHL players from that area, isn't it? Well, we've got a freaking crazy volleyball player
Are
right
you
here.
kidding me, dude?
That's 4 in a row. Now, Luke, substitution here.
I'm going to be straight. Like, spent a lot of time watching volleyball in my day. I have never in my life seen someone get 4 aces in a row. 2 in a row is usually about as cranked as it gets.
And there's a substitution. Kearney Staunton is coming in. Oh, excuse me.
No,
sorry. Blizzard yeah, is coming in.
Now. You got to imagine that it's just the understanding
Yeah.
that he's a better serve receiver.
You're just getting blasted. And a little prayer of thanks heads up.
I was going to say, even that was 2 inches from trickling over and giving him 5.
I think Calhoun's shoulders is getting sore at this point. 11-3, folks. Let's see what we got for a fire from Palmer for UNBSJ. He places it in bounds, and it's out towards the back. There is a libero substitution now as Johnny Hyman has taken up the libero jersey. To the left side, off the block, and it's going to be picked up well for St. John. To the middle, perhaps, or to the left, off the block, and this time out of bounds as Kearney Staunton gets his kill.
There we go.
You do love to see it. A little side of volleyball for UNBSJ here at the G. Forbes Elliott. Big crowd today, too, Luke.
Yeah.
I'd say we're like at least 75, 80%
awesome.
full.
Oh, whoa.
Oh. I like that Baker gave the effort to put the hand up, though.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I disagree with him either.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, some awesome volleyball going on. We got the girls team taking on, I think, Holland College.
Yes, I think so. Immediately after this one, so stay tuned, folks. I think, Luke, you're going to commentate that one as well.
Yes,
Wonderful.
sir.
And then the
Nice
boys
run
play
there by Basilio. He's quietly had a really nice game.
Yeah, a lot of quiet, consistent games on Holland's side, which is really what you want. As if I'm Coach Butler, is just even if you're not making a lot of noise, fellas, you got to be consistent, and they're doing a good job of that.
Oh, I think Baker just goofed himself up on the toss there.
Yeah, you can tell he kind of wanted that one back. Service error for Holland. And again, they're just now getting to 7 service errors on the game. So very consistent serving from the Hurricanes. Kearney Staunton with a big spin into the tape for St. John. He wants that one back as well. You could tell he was going into that one really firmly.
Yeah, you just can't come back that way. You don't need to, you don't need to reinvent the wheel with your play, but you cannot, you can't have the errors. The errors, if you can limit the errors, you can always have a chance to get back into a game. But that's in.
And that's inbounds for Basilio as he grabs an ace for his squad. Just
they
paints the line.
They got 14 points, and I would say damn near half of them are aces. You really need to, like, as a team, you can't get your offense going, obviously, if you're this far on your heels on the serve receive.
And we kind of mentioned it coming into this set, Luke. The real difference maker here is going to be serve receive. McClellan to the left side. It's off the block and inbounds.
And it's just all coming up Holland right now.
Like, those aren't bad offensive runs, right? And McClellan is doing the spread. He goes middle, and then he sends it to Willis on the outside. Yep. Or, excuse me, he sends it to Blizzard on the outside. It's just capitalized on well by Sinclair with the block.
I think, that one, from a nitpicky point of view, probably could have been a little higher. Like, honestly, if Blizzard was able to catch it there on the last one, but even then, right on cue.
But that's what you can't do. You can't go up and get blocked and then have the swing again and then send it out of bounds, right? That's that momentum killer that we're kind of talking about, which is unfortunately a bit of a trend here for UNBSJ in this third set. Substitution Arsenault is coming back on as Blizzard heads back towards the bench. Basilio continues to serve for the Hurricanes. 16-6 here. And McClellan will get there, and it's Arsenault with a nice high swing, but heads into the tape as well. For those following as well, Holland took it to St. Thomas on Wednesday, and St. Thomas just eked out a 3-2 win.
Really?
So that kind of displays that Holland is right there in terms of league standing with the other two teams on top. Out of bounds there for Basilio. That's 8 service errors for the Hurricanes. As Tucker heads back for the Seawolves. Tucker now with his float. It's sent over and out of bounds. And again, not to beat a dead horse here, Luke, but you get the ball back. You're playing side-up volleyball, and then the ball goes out of bounds. It's not a sustainable way.
I mean, honestly, I think you can hear it in the booth here. We both graduated from UNBSJ, so to some extent, we have a bit of a horse in the fight.
A horse in the fight.
And it's just deflating. It's deflating when you win a point and then you go and you almost just don't reward yourself for the good effort.
Yeah, you got to treat yourself, brother. You got to get that serve in. You know what I'm saying? And here it might happen. So Kearney Staunton, front row. McClellan back to the serve, gets it in. I love it. Big swing. I mean, Calhoun, what else do we got to say, folks?
What an awesome run there by Holland.
That was over the middle, yeah?
Yeah.
Tempo
that
ball?
was a bit of a cross, I'd say. So they get their middle running a push, so there's a good 3 or 4 meters in between him and the setter, and then you loop around, I mean, your right side, but you're powering that rotation, Calhoun, to come in for the X, and he drops a bomb out of the middle there.
Gray with his serve, and this time McClellan will send it to the middle as well. Willis does a push tip, Calhoun with the dig, so Sinclair's going to push it left, and a push tip as well, gotten by McClellan. And dug up and sent back out of the middle, and this time it's a miss ball from Parsons.
All right, here come the Seawolves.
That's right, a couple points in a row as Arsenault heads back to the service line.
Arsenault back now to serve.
Looking to grab double digits here in the third set. If you're just joining us, folks, at the G4's Elliott, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And Holland's got the first 2 sets. Need I repeat myself? I think not.
Oh, geez, man. I tell you what, especially down the stretch, going into the locker room for Dino Caraccio's here, it's not hard to tell them where we went wrong today.
Yeah. Substitution coming in.
Errors.
William Castle coming in for the Hurricanes now, 20-9. Castle on the service line. He sends it on. CPB picks it up. It's sent to the left side, and it's going to be push tipped over. Calhoun picks it up, and Sinclair sends it to the left side. Castle.
Real nice high hard
Baker.
swing there. I think that was Baker.
Yeah, that was Baker with a nice high swing.
Yeah, I mean, everything Holland, the King Midas effect, everything they're touching is turning to gold right now.
Castle with his second from the service line sends a float over and just trickles over and down. And could there be another thing that UNBSJ does not want to happen right now? I don't know.
When it rains, it pours, doesn't it?
That's exactly right.
Everything turning up Holland. UNBSJ, like we said, I don't think their quality of the volleyball and the touches they had today was terrible, but they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. They never really had a chance to compete today.
And that ball's out of bounds by Palmer. Yeah, I think practice this week for Coach Caracios, I think, is going to look like quite a lot of serve-receive. And then the execution. When we do get a chance, we have to get a point. That ball has to go in, right? I think that's what he's going to be kind of looking at for sure. That ball heads out of bounds for Holland as we get Johnny Hyman back in the libero position there in the back row. 23-10. Let's see if Willis can make a difference here for the Seawolves. Still 1 timeout for St. John, 2 for Holland. Willis gets up there and sends one into the net.
When was the last time UNBSJ made a serve? It's just so hard.
But that's okay.
Not who you want serving when the game
No,
is
I was going to say, to top it off,
Calhoun.
Mr. Calhoun is here. Let's see what he does.
The change
Takes
up.
some off of it. Yeah, not a bad play.
Back
Tucker.
set.
And it's going to be Kearney Staunton. So it's going to be picked up by Gray, and that is definitely a you see Hyman there like, I'm not sure what I was going to do with that.
Too.
Yeah.
I knew that one came out a little funky. But this is honestly how it felt like this game was going to end, and I don't want to be the bear. I don't want to be a person that is foreseeing anything bad, but
Palmer now to the back line for St. John. Let's see what he does. Sends a float over. There we go. Service in. That's excellent. And Sinclair sends it to the back, and it's Calhoun who outs off the block and out of bounds. And they're going to call that game, folks.
Yeah, that's it. Nice swing there by Calhoun. That was a C ball out of the back court, so he takes off before the attack line. Hard into the hands, and that one's going to fall out of bounds. As per the COVID-19 guidelines, I don't think we're going to see any handshakes, but just a good clap of respect from either side on that one. Final score 3-0. Holland with an absolutely dominant win. They
just
looked
very
like
dominant. Yeah.
They just looked like the more composed team today. Oh, we got some handshakes.
I think. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Is that the first time they've done that?
I think they're. Honest to God, I think that they're going rogue. I don't think they're supposed to be doing this.
Public health. If you're tuning in from public health, please do not view. No, I'm just kidding. We support safety measures.
Look away.
I think it was a consensual agreement. It looked like as Tucker made the first move there. So that's kind of nice to see.
love a
You know, a
good
bit of a return to terms of normalcy.
Yes,
I like that.
sir.
Yeah. Folks, thanks for watching. I have been Blair.
I've been Luke O'Grady.
And we'll see you next time. Tune in about probably half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour. We're going to come back with the girls' game, UNBSJ women's team versus the Holland women's team. I think this one will prove to be a lot more competitive. Both those teams having themselves nice seasons. So join us, in about a half an hour. Get yourself your favorite snack, maybe a coffee or so, and strap in. We'll see you then.
See you then, folks. Have a good night.